Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk now about El Clásico. El Clásico is approaching. Barcelona has already beaten Bayern Munich and they face now an even bigger challenge. They face an even stronger team, and that is Carlo Ancelotti's Real Madrid. And I want to know, guys, if Barcelona beat Real Madrid, can they be considered the best team in the world? I think so. But actually, what I'm most wondering is, are we allowed to dream then? If Barcelona beat Real Madrid, can Los Culés start fantasizing about maybe, some silverware by the end of the season? I think so. I think you can. There are arguments for it, and that's what we'll explore in today's video. What's going on, guys? ¿Cómo están? BugaLuis here, and I'm so excited. I'm very, very excited now to talk El Clásico with you guys. This is one of the most exciting Clásicos in such a long time, honestly. I think that since we had Messi and Ronaldo, this is the Clásico that I'm looking the most forward to. So this El Clásico now gives us, I think, perhaps the best two informed teams in the world currently. We just saw it demonstrated in the Champions League. Barcelona goleó. It was insane. They beat Bayern Munich for one, hat-trick from Raphinha, and the very same thing from our neighbors across the street, you could say, Real Madrid. They beat Dortmund 5-2. So you have Vinicius Jr. as well, that is in incredible form. So it's going to be really like a battle of the Brazilians. You're going to have youngsters like Lamine Yamal in one side. Then you're going to have Mbappe, someone who came in for free, but we all know what he's worth. So it's this comparison, it's this contrast that I think just creates such a big showcase that we haven't seen before for a Clásico. Now I'm really excited. I don't know about you guys, but I just want it to be Saturday right now. There's plenty of things that certainly will impact the game, and we're gonna talk about them later on and what does this game actually mean for both teams. But I want to start setting the picture so you can get an idea of what we're gonna see. So this is the predicted lineups that we see right now on screen. And for Real Madrid, they're gonna go with Lunin because Courtois is injured. He got injured after the game against Dortmund, so Lunin is gonna be playing. Then they have Lucas Vázquez, Eder Militao, Antonio Rudiger, and Ferland Mendy. There's some speculation that Ancelotti did not like Lucas Vázquez's performance against Dortmund, and I can agree why. I mean, he was so open. He was really, really open, and he gives you quite a lot when it comes to going forward. But defending-wise, he's such a liability. So reports are saying that Ancelotti is trying to play with Eder Militao as a right back. And I found that very interesting. That is something I have kind of thought of before as well. I'm not going to call myself a manager, but I thought that could be an alternative for them since Carvajal got injured. So if Eder Militao actually ends up playing in that position, I think that we could see someone like Tchouaméni dropping as a center back. That's one of the possibilities. I do not know. Maybe Ancelotti wants to, put a stamp on this game saying that they are all going out because it's a game at home, it's a game at the Bernabeu, so maybe he will start Lucas Vázquez after all, but that's just an option for the defense, right? In the midfield, if Tchouaméni doesn't drop back, I think he's going to be playing there because I think that Real Madrid will be playing with four midfielders. Modric, Valverde, and Bellingham are the players that I believe will play in this game. Certainly, I believe that we saw against Bayern Munich, if you have someone like a Kimmich, like a Modric in this sense that can really hold on to the ball, it could be very advantageous for this team because Barcelona right now with this high line, it's very, very vulnerable. So I think someone like Modric can pinpoint, those passes from across the field and really showcase his strength for the oncoming runners. That could be Vinicius Jr, Mbappe, and Jude Bellingham. I agree with SofaScore's lineup here because I think Jude Bellingham would be playing as the most advanced of them all. And I say this because Bellingham could potentially be the key player to watch. I believe that Bellingham here, it will be important because Barcelona's high line, and like I mentioned, he's going to make those runs in behind. And since Pau Cubarsí, Íñigo Martínez, and the fullbacks may be very concentrated on someone like Vinicius and Mbappe, who are going to be the first line of attack for Real Madrid, it's going to come down to Marc Casado and whoever partners him, which we're going to talk later on, to be able to control Jude Bellingham. Bellingham will be such an important asset for Real Madrid because, like I said, it will be one of our midfielders marking him. So let's be rest assured that hopefully one of them has a very good match defensively and they have to be focused. Casado, I think, can do the job, but he has to play even better than what he has been playing at the moment, which is so far spectacular. And at top for Real Madrid, of course, we have Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe. I don't think we have to mention that. Of course, it's going to be a little bit different. And we saw how last season, when they are playing both through the middle, it's far harder for Barcelona to defend. So I'm going to be very interested to see how we can really deal with this. It's not going to be easy, guys. Like, it really isn't. When you look at their team, you can just see so many ways for them to hurt us. And Barcelona, on the other hand, they only have kind of one way to. So it's gonna be a mix and match of both strategies and see which one comes out on top. Now I want to take a look at the predicted lineup for Barcelona, and I think Iñaki Peña will reserve his spot. I mean, even Chesney said in an interview not too many days ago, he expects him to play El Clásico. They even asked him, would you put yourself in front of him? And he said that Iñaki Peña hasn't put a foot wrong, so I respect hierarchy and whatnot, so I think it's fine. Iñaki Peña for El Clásico, it's going to be interesting. Hopefully he has a good game. In the defense, we have Koundé, Cubarsí, Íñigo Martínez, and Balde. We can really not make any changes there. In the midfield is where we have some of the debate, you know, guys, because Marc Casado is going to play. I think he deserves and he has earned his position as a first-team player for the rest of the year, really. If he hasn't put a foot wrong and he has been excellent. So I'll keep Casado there. Then I think Pedri will play 100% as well. But where will he play? Will he play as a number 10 or will he play next to Casado? Behind the striker, which is going to be, of course, Robert Lewandowski, we'll see Raphinha and Lamine Yamal on the wings. But then through the middle, it could be also Dani Olmo. Dani Olmo came into the game against Bayern late on, and he looked good. I think he played, of course, a little bit to the left and then moved to the right when Ansu Fati came in. So it's not like he was playing the normal number 10 position. But if I'm Flick and I'm wondering, okay, I need someone to be able to, similar to Modric, like I mentioned, ping balls for the attack or hold on to the ball a little bit more to beat the press, Dani Olmo could be that player. However, Frankie de Jong is also a press-proven player and quite a good one as well. So depending on who's fitter, I think it's going to be between them. I think it's going to be a question of whether you start Frankie de Jong or Dani Olmo. The case for Fermin is that, yes, I think he's an incredible player, but he will work much better once the game is broken. You know, guys, that I always talk about this, about the games being broken. Una vez que el partido se rompe, once the strategies and the plans, you know, the tactics flow out the window, we need to have someone who can expose those spaces that will certainly come into place later on into the game. And I think that Fermin could be the perfect impact player off the bench since we don't have someone like Ferran Torres. So yes, I am expecting for the debate to be between Frank de Jong or Dani Olmo. And I want to know, guys, who would you play? Or even would you play Fermin? But my opinion would be potentially I would play whoever is fitter. But if both are fit 100%, I would go actually with Frankie de Jong. The problem is that we don't have a 5. And just having someone extra that can occupy that space and has already that experience, and it's a little bit more experience than Casado in the position alongside him, I think that it could work. So I would actually play, I think, Casado with Frankie de Jong as the double pivots, and then I would play Pedri as a number 10. That's probably what I would do. So guys, so far, if you're learning anything or enjoying the content, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It really goes a long way. We're trying to reach 30k subscribers by the end of this year. It's a big tally, but I think we could make it if we all join forces. But certainly also leave me any feedback. I want to improve the videos just like always, and I'm having a lot of fun doing them, but I want to know, guys, if you're actually having fun as well. So yeah, all of that comes into place. And now let's talk about what for me would be the kind of the poster of the game, you know, the tagline. What does it mean for either team to win this game? I think that on one hand, why this is so entertaining is because you have Barcelona that, of course, wants to put their foot down and say, hey, we're back. Hansi Flick has given us a tremendous, you know, surge, a boost that we are now playing at incredible levels. And we want to beat not only Bayern Munich, but we want to also now show to our biggest rivals that, hey, you need to take us seriously, and for the rest of Europe as well. So I think that image that we show and kind of battle it out for everybody else in the world, if we're able to beat Real Madrid, is just so good, because it really gives Barcelona, I think, that edge or that ilk, that gut feeling that whenever you face them in the Champions League knockout, for instance, they're going to be like, hey, we're here. Barcelona are playing really good. They have already have these wins as evidence. I think that's the most important thing. On the other hand, you have Real Madrid, and I think this is even more more exciting and more motivated for them. And that's something that makes me a little bit nervous. Because if I'm Real Madrid, I have the best team in the world by a landslide. There's a huge margin between Real Madrid and other teams out there. You look at the depth that they have, you see that they are having a little bit of trouble constantly in games. It seems like there's always more questions than answers. And they play a football which is very individualistic. We all know that. And there's certainly a lot of, I think Europe has cut out now that Real Madrid has some sort of favorable decisions when it comes to the refereeing and the penalties. So if I'm Real Madrid and I am the current Champions League holder, the current La Liga holder, I'm saying to myself, hey, Barcelona, this is my ground. I want to stop you. I'm going to stop you, and actually I think I can make you worse, because if Real Madrid beats Barcelona, it's going to be a huge blow for Hansi Flick, the project, the team, the players. Potentially they could stop the good form of someone like Raphinha. All it takes is one game, one bad result. You go into the next one and you don't perform at the levels that you wanted to, and then you start doubting yourself, and then questions begin, and then criticism arises, and then everything is gonna come down falling. That could happen. That's a really big possibility if you lose. So I think that Barcelona has more to lose in this game than to win, and Real Madrid has all to win for, because all it takes is simply one win, and it's like, well, Real Madrid are just too good. They're the best team in the world, so potentially they're gonna win everything again, and it's like Barcelona need to climb up, and that's what's been happening so far. Barcelona are sort of gaining ground on Real Madrid, but if they beat them, if Barcelona beat Real Madrid, my goodness, they will be able to surpass that and really, really, really have now this 6-point margin going to Christmas, going to Thanksgiving, for the next important Champions League matches and everything. And I just think that Barcelona, with the players returning, with the Spotify Camp Nou coming back later in the season, I just think that all of these things come together. It could really be an incredible season for Barcelona. But this game determines quite a lot. I think people underestimate the mentality and the mental part that it takes in football, for situations like this, or how important that is to actually carry onwards to a season. Because we're talking about Raphinha, for instance, just an example. Raphinha is a player that currently at his level, if he continues like this until the end of the season, I have no doubt in saying that he could totally win the Ballon d'Or. But that is, of course, easier said than done. And many players have reached levels like Raphinha, but they have not even come close to winning something like the Ballon d'Or. So what's the difference? It's up here. It's the mentality. It's the consistency. Are you able to maintain that over a long period of time? And that, for me, is the one thing I need to see from Barcelona to really, of course, believe that no matter a defeat, they can certainly come stronger and be that team that we all want them to be. Something, guys, that I'm really excited to do now with you before this video ends is we're going to do a combined 11. We're going to start debating, guys. We're going to open up the debate for you guys in the comments. So I want you to be very, very keen on this one, keep your attention. We're going to try to build this combined 11 between Real Madrid and Barcelona players. And let's start off right away, with the goalkeeper. I think this one, so far, if I'm a Barcelona fan, for me, the question is, would I take Lunin over Iñaki Peña? And you know what? I already know that Lunin can do it. I think that's the one thing that for me gives me a little bit of an edge to pick the Ukrainian player over someone like Iñaki Peña, because in Lunin we've seen someone that can do it. He has already helped Real Madrid in the Champions League tremendously last season. I mean, he was the goalkeeper for Real Madrid. He didn't play the final, but he was more important. So actually, I'm gonna have to go with Lunin here. The debate is closer. I certainly want to hear, guys, what you have to say about Iñaki Peña not making it. But I think Lunin would be there. Then if I'm taking a look at the right back position, we have on the one hand, Lucas Vázquez, or in the other one, we have Jules Koundé. I just have to go with Koundé here. I think that Koundé is by far potentially the best right back in the world currently. I think that we're taking a look at a player that's having his best level since arriving at Barcelona. Actually, is that really the case? Do you guys think that Koundé is having his best form since arriving at Barcelona? I think that now with Koundé, the thing about him is that he just gets filled with confidence. And we saw in the game against Bayern Munich where sometimes he just simply, beat Coman. And then he looked like Cafu in attack. He really did. He just running forward. He was so full of energy. And he's such an athletic player. He's so strong. He's so he's such a perfect professional in that sense of the world, physically wise, and now he adds that that extra surge of boost and mobility to his game, and I think that he can just be a complete runner. Lucas Vázquez is a good right back. Last season maybe we can have a debate, but so far Koundé is by far the better player. The first center back, this one actually I'm having a little bit of difficulty deciding. So one of the center backs I think is Rudiger. I think that's a given. So I'm going to put the German there. I think that Rudiger, we just saw, for instance, his impact against Dortmund. He's very good from headers. Attacking wise, he has that extra little bit of, garra. That's how we say it in Spanish. Of battling out, trying to win the games. And I think that's very important. It's very crucial. One of the best defenders in the world currently. But then we have to ask ourselves, I do not think there's another Real Madrid center back better than Cubarsí or Íñigo Martínez. So my question is, who of the two would you pick? Would I go with Íñigo Martínez, or do I go with Cubarsí? I think Íñigo Martínez is in a huge level, like in a very, very good level, but I think Cubarsí really impressed me against Bayern Munich, and I'm gonna have to go with Cubarsí. You know why, guys? Even on the podcast, we have a podcast called Masculine Podcast with some other friends for the Barça, so if you want more content, go find our podcast, Mescun Podcast. I put actually Íñigo Martínez in the combined 11, but here I'm going to put Cubarsí because the game against Bayern really changed a lot for me. I think that Cubarsí, we don't see so far the impact that he gives us when it comes to the attack. Like most of the attacks from Barcelona get started from passes from Cubarsí. He's just so good when it comes to playing the ball from deep, and I think that's such a tremendous asset that someone like Íñigo Martínez, for instance, we don't get to see that much. So yes, I'm gonna go with Cubarsí there, and I was gonna go with Mendy. I think I'm gonna go with Mendy here because even though I love Balde, you know what, guys, I love Balde. I think that Ferland Mendy is such a very underrated player. I think defensively he's one of the best fullbacks in the world. He didn't have a good game against Dortmund, but I mean at the start who did? But Mendy for me is just such a good fullback at the end of the day because I want someone to be defensive, and I think that Balde is better than someone like Alphonso Davies, for instance, defensively. But Mendy, I think that Mendy gets overlooked quite a bit. I really do like him as a fullback because, like I said, I think that one-on-one he's an incredible left back, and he's not the best going forward, but Real Madrid really don't need him to because you have incredible players already going forward. That why would you need Mendy to do so? And if I'm picking right now a Champions League final individually for the player, I take Mendy. So I'm going to go with the ex-Lyon player there. In the midfield, actually, let's change the formation. I want to make this a 4-3-3. And we're going to go with the first midfielders. I think there are two givens for me. When it comes to the best midfielders in the world currently and in La Liga, Valverde is one of them. And the other one for me has to be Pedri. I think those two are having incredible seasons so far and have been, by a landslide, I always say that word, by a landslide, the best informed and more consistent players that both teams have had. I think that Pedri is very consistent overall, apart midfielders I'm talking about. And Real Madrid with Valverde, I think that Valverde really, for what Real Madrid, he's like the missing piece where he's a player that can defend, can attack, can run, can do absolutely everything. He's a box-to-box in a nutshell, but he also is very good with the ball at his feet and the circulation with the ball that he does. He's been able to control it a little bit more, inheriting that number 8 from Toni Kroos. It's a difficult role to fill, and no one actually has been able to fill it, but Valverde, I think that is doing a lot more job, behind the scenes that not too many people are seeing. And that for me really adds to him. And plus, he has a banger of a shot, So Valverde, I think it's a guarantee. Pedri, I think that if Pedri continues this level, let's be honest, guys, he will be the best midfielder in the world. Like, there's no doubt. He has the talent already to be the best by quite a distance. So if injuries really forgive him and respect him, I believe that Pedri will be the best. I have no problem in saying it. And right now, he could be the best just because of the influence that he has. Everything that he touches is magic. And really, I do not get how people scrutinize Pedri that much and claim someone like Bellingham is incredible. Pedri has, in one left toe, more talent than Bellingham in all of his foots combined. All of his, yeah? Is that a proper thing? You know what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say that Pedri is really good. Talent-wise, he's incredible. Let's just see if the injuries respect him. And let's remember, he's just 21 years of age. Like, there's so much Pedri more to continue. He was already started at 18, and it's like we forget that he's really young. So incredible from Pedri, really. And the last midfielder, that's where I have a little bit of a debate, guys. So I'm going to present to you the options, and you tell me, what should we do? We have Casado. That's one, because he's been playing really, really good so far this season. I think that the match against Bayern really has cemented him as an important piece for Barcelona. We could also put someone like Jude Bellingham in, which just simply because of the hierarchy that he is as a player, how good of a starter he can play there. So actually, you know what, guys? I'm gonna do something. Watch closely. I'm actually gonna change this as a 4-2-3-1 because I just realized in the attack I need more players. So I'm gonna do 4-2-3-1. Put Pedri here. I'll shift it afterwards, and I'll put Raphinha as a. I put Raphinha as a forward. I think that's what I'm gonna do because Raphinha has played as a number 10 so far for Barcelona, so I think we must respect that. So I'll keep Raphinha there, but actually, let's just add the other players so we can already, start looking at this team how it looks. Lamine Yamal and Raphinha, I'll stick in there. I think that both these players have been absolutely insane. Lamine Yamal, he surprises me. I have no words. Every single time that I watch him, it's incredible that at 17 years of age, he's always delivering. I mean, not only goals and assists, but he always appears. Like, you're asking players to appear in games, to make a presence, to make themselves known in every game. And I mean, Yamal does that since he's like 16. Like, that's insane. Every single game that he plays, that he's there. He does never, go invisible. And I think that's a tremendous compliment to him as a player, because not only, in the game against Bayern, I said it before in a review, which you can watch it on the channel perhaps as well if you missed it. I talked about in the Bayern game. I analyzed how Lamine Yamal, shifted positions in a moment. He drifted and gave himself the freedom to play inwards because he was sort of sometimes losing with Alphonso Davies, which later he cooked. But at the start of the match, he was having a little bit of trouble because Bayern were marking man to man. And as soon as he realized that they were doing that and he could just beat them one-on-one with their skill, he went on a whole different level because he just started to skill everybody. If he beat a man, it was an open possibility. A space was created out of nowhere. So he realized that, and he's 17. Like, his IQ must be humongous. So Lamine Yamal, great player. What else can I say? Raphinha as a number 10, one of the most influential players so far this season. I think we're watching potentially the most informed player in the world right now. I have no problem in saying that. I'm really surprised about Raphinha. And I want to ask you guys, do you think that Raphinha... Let's be honest, okay? Let's be honest. Look at me. Raphinha. Did you ever believe that Raphinha could reach this level? Let me know. Because I'm going to put my hand up and say I did not. I thought he was going to be a good player. Like, I thought he could be sort of 70% of what he's been now. But that extra 30% really cements him like potentially the most creative player in the world right now. And I actually think he is. Stat-wise, 44 chances created. If I remember correctly, in La Liga so far, which is insane, guys. It's humongous levels. So Raphinha for me has to be in this team, and there's another Brazilian that has to be in this team, and that is Vinicius Jr. Vinicius Jr. We saw against Dortmund what he's been able to do. I think that he will win the Ballon d'Or in a few days' time. There's no doubt that he's a tremendous player. And yeah, I think that Vinicius Jr. really does deserve to play in that position. To be part of 100% a best combined 11 of what we'll see in a Clásico. Will he be the most determined player? I don't know. He will be the most vital player for a victory? I don't know. I think that would be a Raphinha, actually. But Vinicius Jr. is just tremendous. Like, he's an incredible player one-on-one. He will never lace the shoes of someone like Neymar or Ronaldinho, but he's up there. I mean, he's really, really good. And his legacy, or what he will be able to accomplish, not too many Brazilians will be able to do so. I mean, he has already won 2 Champions League. He will have a Ballon d'Or. and he's 23, 24. So that's pretty difficult to argue against. So that's Vinicius for you guys. And last but not least, I'm going to put the striker. People are going to say maybe Mbappe, but I think there's only one guy in my mind. And that is Roberto Tito Lewandowski. Lewandowski, my guy. Lewandowski. What a player. What a guy. With Flick, he has really been taken to a whole different level. He looks like a proper number 9. And he's even older, but he's playing better. You know, he's more agile. He's know how to save his energy up for crucial moments in the game to appear. And I just believe that Lewandowski is by far the best striker so far between the two teams. And so far up with Kane as the most informed strikers. Haaland has dropped off a little bit after injury, I think. So Lewandowski 100% is up there. In the top 3 strikers right now in the world, 100%. I can guarantee you that. I can tell you that's a fact. So guys, that's gonna be my combined 11. I'll show you one more time. I think that we're gonna see my combined 11 will be Lunin over Iñaki Peña, Koundé over Lucas Vázquez, Rudiger over Íñigo Martínez, Cubarsí over Militao, Ferland Mendy taking the place of Valde, Valverde and Pedri in the midfield, Lamine Yamal, Raphinha, Vinicius Jr, and Roberto Lewandowski. And now prediction time. What do we think is going to happen in this game? Well, people, I think that this game will be a high-scoring draw. Yeah, not too much of a given here. I do not know whether Barcelona will be able to beat Real Madrid, honestly. I think Barcelona will concede 100%. I do not know a world where they won't. The high line is such a vulnerable part of our game. And when you take a look at Real Madrid's team, with Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr, and Mbappe, I just know that they're going to concede. I mean, Rodrigo being injured, it's a very, you could say, positive thing for Barcelona. But actually, I think it's a double-edged sword, because Bellingham is going to be playing now as that false striker that he was last year. And the runs that he will make from the deep end will be just so difficult for Barcelona to mark. I mean, and that's where I think a Cazador needs to have a tremendous impact in this game. And I really do say that to heart. I remember when Gavi played, remember that first El Clásico last season? He played and Gavi was marking Bellingham constantly. And I think that that's what Cazador has to do. Cazador has to breathe down the neck of Jude Bellingham if we want to win this game. Because we cannot allow him to have space and run into behind our players. And we saw that the one time the Bellingham has a little bit of space and breathing room, he scored a banger. And then he found the chance for the equalizer later on in the game. So yeah, I think that it's going to be very important to be marking someone like Bellingham in this game. It's going to be very important. And that's why also I'm adding Frankie de Jong, because I think that if Cazador is so worried about that part of the game, someone like Frankie has to then be more protagonist of the midfield and have more control and not let it be, for Valverde or Modric. So that's what I'm going to go with Cazador. I think he has to mark Bellingham 100%. Prediction time, I'm going to say a 2-2. I think that Barcelona may start this game well, but maybe on the counter, maybe we saw it. If we don't get a goal early, like against Bayern, Real Madrid can really put us onto the ropes. And they can score. They will certainly score early with Vinicius or Mbappe. So I think that will take into account. Cubarsí and Íñigo Martínez are not the fastest. So I think that's where we will pay. I certainly do think that Barcelona will score, because they always know how to get back into games, it seems, with Flick and this team. But that's my prediction. I think a 2-2 draw. I'm going to go with goals from Mbappe and you know what? I'm going to go with Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. That's what I'm going to go. I'm going to go simple with Real Madrid. And for Barcelona, I think that Lewandowski may score of a penalty maybe. And I'm going to go with a crucial goal from Raphinha as well. Raphinha. And if I have to be a little bit, I would, si me la tengo que jugar, that's how you would say in Spanish. If I have to give you a winning result, I think that maybe we could get like a 3-2 win with a Raphinha goal in the last few minutes or something crazy like that. Or maybe Lamine Yamal, who knows? Maybe the golden boy steps into the field. But let's hope that Barcelona win this, or at least they don't lose, because, like I said, it's a very important game for everybody involved, and particularly for Los Culés, and what it means for Barcelona to continue rising up in this scale that is European football. They need to put their foot down and say, hey, we're here. We want to win everything. We're a serious contender for every competition, and particularly the Champions League and La Liga. So yeah, that's going to be our prediction. I'm going to go with a draw. I'm going to go with a draw, 2-2 draw. So guys, hopefully you have enjoyed this video. If you learned anything, please remember to drop a like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one for our review of the game against Real Madrid and Barcelona, El Clásico. It's so tasty.